Hi friends, welcome to Raising Lifelong Learners. I'm your host, Colleen Kessler, and this is the podcast where I encourage you to trust yourself and your differently wired kiddos as you help cultivate their curiosity, encourage them to discover the world around them, embrace who they are wired to be, all while helping them discover their passions, interests, and raise them to become the amazing adults they're meant to be. Hey, welcome back. This is episode 316. Today we are talking all about perfectionism, specifically when perfectionism becomes avoidance. All about what perfectionism is, how we can help our kiddos out when they tend towards avoidant perfectionists, and what we can do to build a culture in our home that helps our kids know that mistakes are worth making, they're okay, and a place where perfectionism does not thrive. Before we begin, I want to give a special thank you to CTC Math, our sponsor for this episode. We really appreciate the support that they give the homeschooling community in general and the podcast in particular. Check them out if you're looking for a great math program at ctcmath.com. You can also click through the link over on the show notes for this episode for a special offer that they have just for Raising Lifelong Learners listeners. You'll also learn a little bit more about them later on in this episode. All right, this is going to be a great one, so pop those earbuds in, take a walk, enjoy some chocolate from your secret stash, and let's get on with today's episode. Hey there, welcome back. Today we are talking about something that quietly steals the joy, the confidence, the creativity, and the momentum from so many of our neurodivergent kids. We're talking about perfectionism. Specifically, perfectionism that looks like avoidance. You know the kind. The kind where your child melts down before even starting, refuses to try unless they know they'll succeed. They abandon a project halfway through. They panic over mistakes, even when the mistakes are inconsequential. Or they say something like, I can't, or this is stupid, or never mind, forget about it, or I'm so stupid, or I'm not good at this. And from the outside, it can sometimes look like laziness, disorganization, defiance, a lack of motivation, or stubbornness. But underneath, this kind of perfectionism is often rooted in fear. Fear of getting it wrong, disappointing someone, looking foolish, not meeting impossibly high internal standards that they've set for themselves, or discovering maybe they're not as capable as they thought they were, or they hoped they were, or somebody told them they were. And honestly, this is incredibly common, especially in gifted kids, twice exceptional kids, anxious kids, ADHD kids, autistic kiddos, and neurodivergent homeschoolers in general. Today, we're going to unpack what perfectionism actually is, why it can lead to avoidance, how nervous systems and executive function play into it, and most importantly, how we can help our kids move from paralysis into progress without shame, without pressure, or without power struggles. So settle in and let's talk about this. Okay, one of the biggest misconceptions about perfectionism is this idea that perfectionists are organized, polished, high achieving, and constantly successful. But many perfectionists, if not most of them, actually look avoidant or hesitant or chaotic or emotional or unmotivated. Perfectionism isn't really about being perfect. It's about fear. It's about fear of mistakes, fear of uncertainty, fear of vulnerability, fear of judgment, and fear of failure. Sometimes even fear of success. What am I going to do if I actually am successful? That can hold them back too. Or what if I'm not successful in the way that I think I should be successful? And that can hold our kids back. For many neurodivergent kids, that fear gets amplified because they've experienced asynchronous development. They notice mistakes intensely. They struggle with emotional regulation, or they've internalized years and years of feeling different. Gifted kids especially can become deeply attached to competence. And when things come easy early on, they may never develop a frustration tolerance or risk-taking skills or even beginner skills. So the moment that something feels difficult, their nervous system interprets it as danger. And instead of trying and failing, they just avoid entirely. Perfectionism rarely announces itself clearly. It can look like procrastination, shutting down, refusing to start, needing constant reassurance, emotional explosions, ripping up papers, crumbling things up, throwing them away, saying, I just don't care, clowning around, becoming a goofball or silly, or endlessly tweaking tiny details. Sometimes kids avoid because if I never really try, I never have to know if I could fail. That's protective. And honestly, adults do this too. I have been that perfectionistic adult who has not tried something because it's safer to not do it. If I don't fail at something, then I'm not a failure, right? And so this is something that is hard to get rid of even as an adult. We as adults can avoid writing, submitting, applying, creating, or trying new things because imperfect feels vulnerable. And that's amplified for our kids, especially when our kids are neurodivergent. Now, imagine being emotionally intense or neurologically sensitive or deeply aware of expectations. It's a lot for a kiddo to carry. And so it's natural that they may want to shut down if that's what they're dealing with. Let's talk about the neurodivergent piece specifically when it comes to perfectionism. Let's talk about a couple different profiles. Let's say our kiddos are ADHD and they struggle with perfectionism. Kids who have ADHD often experience inconsistent performance. This inconsistent performance can make them feel very vulnerable and like they're not going to be successful. So that can shut them down right off the bat. They also experience emotional impulsivity, and so their feelings are all over the place, and it's really hard for them to regulate, thus making them feel more and more unsafe. And so it's safer to them and their nervous system to just shut down completely and not do something. Kids with ADHD can also have rejection sensitivity, and so they could be very aware of rejection, and it can trigger all sorts of big, deep feeling emotions in them. And so to avoid the potential for rejection, sometimes they just will shut down. And they can also struggle with executive dysfunction. So getting started or knowing the right steps feels intensely vulnerable and like they could make a mistake just in how they set it up, so they don't set it up. Sometimes they think if I can't do it perfectly immediately, I just shouldn't start because the starting can feel very risky for a kiddo with ADHD. Okay, so if our kids are gifted or twice exceptional, they may expect mastery instantly. And if that doesn't happen, they're naturally going to shut down, or they're going to remember the last time they tried something new that it didn't just happen instantly, and so it's safer to not do anything. They also might struggle when a challenge finally appears because everything has come more easily to them up until this point, and so the struggle of pushing through feels exceptionally vulnerable, and so they shut down and avoid it. They might also equate intelligence with effortless success. So if something requires effort, they may feel that's a sign of a lack of intelligence or ability to do something that's new to them. So mistakes now have become identity threats, especially if they feel particularly good about their intelligence, their giftedness, or whatever it is that makes them uniquely them. When that is challenged or when something now doesn't come easily, it feels like a threat and it feels like their identity's at stake. Autistic kids may crave predictability, struggle with uncertainty, become distressed by ambiguity, or develop rigid internal standards. So when starting something new, there's nothing predictable about it. And so that can instantly turn off somebody who is very rigid. That makes them struggle with uncertainty. And so they naturally put off that uncomfortable feeling. Autistic kids are often distressed by ambiguity, like I said, and that means if it's not clear and the steps aren't all mapped out for them, or they don't know exactly what to expect with each little section that they're going to be doing, then they just don't want any part of it. They may avoid tasks because expectations feel unclear, there are too many possibilities, or the fear of being wrong feels very overwhelming. For our kids with anxiety, anxious kids often catastrophize mistakes. And so a simple mistake or a simple misspoken word can feel tragic and overwhelming for them. They overestimate consequences. They think that people are going to be disappointed in them. They think they're letting family or friends down if they're not super successful right away. And so this can feel particularly vulnerable. And a lot of our anxious kids just don't want to be that vulnerable. It feels scary to them. And they often underestimate their own coping ability because they feel like they haven't been able to cope in the past. And so they're worried that this is going to be another instance of them not coping. Avoidance in our anxious kids' case becomes a nervous system strategy, not manipulation. Though oftentimes anxious kids, with the strength of their distress, it can feel manipulative because to somebody who doesn't have anxiety, it can feel very big and disproportionate with what is actually going on. And so that can make somebody who doesn't experience anxiety feel like they're being manipulated, but it's not manipulation, it's protection.
Okay, so let's talk about math. Specifically, let's talk about finding a program that actually works for your unique homeschoolers. In our house, we've been using CTC Math for years, and even though I am so appreciative that they sponsor this podcast, I am a paying customer. I'm still a paying customer even with their sponsorship because it's just that good, and I love supporting great companies with great programs. With 2 kids still at home, both with very different learning needs, CTC Math has been the flexible and dependable solution that I keep coming back to. One of my kiddos needs more time to process math concepts, and I love that she can move through the lessons at her own pace without feeling rushed or behind. My other kiddo, he flies. He jumps straight to the end of unit tests to see what he already knows, and then we only focus on the lessons that fill the gaps. That kind of customization is gold when you're homeschooling gifted or twice exceptional kids. CTC Math gives you the access to every grade level, from kindergarten through 12th grade with your subscription, so that your child can accelerate, review, or jump around based on their own needs, not based on some rigid curriculum structure. And because it's video-based with clear instruction and auto-graded lessons and quizzes, it frees me up to support my kids without being chained to a textbook, teacher's manual, or whiteboard. So whether your child needs more time or is racing ahead, you can tailor it all with CTC Math. Check it out at ctcmath.com. You will see why so many homeschool families trust it. And if you've got quirky math learners like I do, I think you're going to love it. If you have any questions about CTC, like I said, we've been using it for years in our homeschool, and I encourage you to reach out and ask me any questions that you have. If you do pop over there, let them know that I sent you, and let them know that you appreciate their ongoing support of homeschoolers everywhere, especially those of you here at Raising Lifelong Learners. All right, let's get back to today's episode.
Okay, when it comes to perfectionism, there's often a perfectionism and avoidance cycle that starts to happen in our kids, and it's important for us to understand this cycle. Here's what often happens. Tasks appear and our kids need to try something different. They anticipate the imperfection or their potential failure, and their nervous system activates. So they're thrown into fight or flight mode right off the bat before they've even begun, as the task is looming. So avoidance begins. And because they have now avoided the potential for the failure, a temporary relief occurs, and their brain learns that avoidance kept them safe. And so the cycle strengthens. That's why forcing our kids to get started on something, lecturing them, increasing the pressure, can often backfire on us. The brain interprets the forcing and the lecturing and the increased pressure as, see, that task really is dangerous. And so the cycle perpetuates. It goes right back to the new task or the same task, the anticipation of failure, the nervous system activating and avoidance clicking in, relief because we're not doing the thing we're likely to fail at, and the brain relearning and reactivating the avoidance kept me safe mantra. That creates a neural pathway that continues and perpetuates through all sorts of new task initiations. And our kids who struggle with that get in this cycle of avoiding. So how do we help without feeding into that fear? We need to remember that we're not trying to eliminate standards. We need to hold our kids accountable to high standards. We're not trying to convince our kids not to care. We want them to care. We want them to try. We want them to do new things. We also don't want to rescue them from all discomfort. We want them to know that we're there as their safe people and that we can help them and support them. But we also want them to learn that they can survive imperfection. So first, we want to normalize beginnerhood or beginnerdom or whatever. Many perfectionistic kids avoid being beginners. So we want to model that for them. We can show them us trying something new and trying it badly, making mistakes, laughing gently at ourselves and at the mistakes that we make, and revising openly, saying things like, I'm practicing, or this is my rough draft, or mistakes help brains grow. Let them see you make mistakes and get up, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going. I was talking on a call the other day with some Learners Lab kids about trying different things and like having a casual learning of new hobbies summer and maybe meeting in the Learners Lab once a month or so just to talk about the different hobbies that we're starting, hobbies to get us offline and to try new things, which is ironic as the Learners Lab is online, but it's a good way to connect while also reminding us that we need to live in the moment. And I was saying that I've always wanted to learn to crochet. My grandma tried to teach me before she passed away. She passed away when I was 12. And so she never got a chance to get past the big long chain. So I can crochet a chain, a very long chain, but I can't connect them or do anything else with it. And so one of the other kids was saying, I've always wanted to learn how to do that too. And so we were talking about holding each other accountable. And that's a really great thing to do, and let your kids see you trying new things like that and failing at them so they can see me make a chain and then struggle to put it together. We can also then shrink the entry point. Okay, so the first one was normalizing beginnerhood. Let them see you begin things, make mistakes, try new things, and then shrink the entry point. Perfectionistic kids often see the whole project at once, so reduce the demand, break it down. Instead of write the paper or do the project, try, hey, can you just tell me what the title is that you're thinking of? Or come up with 3 bullet points, 3 main things that you want to cover in this paper or during this project. Tell me some of your ideas out loud. You know what? Actually, here, use my voice recorder on my phone and dictate some of the things you're thinking about. Let's come up with an ugly first draft. Help them learn that progress can lower their fear. Just doing something small can give them momentum to move forward. And then another strategy we can use is to separate the identity from the output. This matters deeply. Avoid, whenever you can, saying things like, you're so smart. Oh my gosh, you did that amazingly first time out. Oh, that's great. Goodness gracious, you're like an expert at this already. Avoid those identity kind of things and instead emphasize their persistence, their flexibility, their recovery, their experimentation. Talk about how it's hard to get started. It's hard to do things you've never done before. But just doing something small every single day is amazing and can get you over that hump. We want kids to believe that mistakes are experiences, things to learn from, and not their identities. It's something that we can continue to talk about and help our kids learn to believe based off of repetition. Another strategy we can use is to praise risk and not perfection, not the end game. So try to take time to notice them trying or starting something new or revising something or recovering from something or asking for help. Say, hey, I noticed that you kept going when that got hard. That's amazing. Great job. Or you tried something hard. It's not always going to work out for you, but you tried it. I'm so impressed. Or you didn't quit when it got uncomfortable. You kept putting another thing in or trying another thing or doing the next step. That's amazing. It's the only way you can get through to the other end is by putting one foot in front of the other. Another strategy you can use is collaborative support. Many kids need body doubling, like we've talked about before on this podcast, working alongside of them so they have the support in your physical presence. Co-regulation, they may need you to help them calm down. Shared work, you doing part of it with them. Scaffolding, helping them build the bridge, steps to get to the end point. That's okay. Support isn't failure. Remember that a lot of our neurodivergent kids need more support than same age peers because their brains just work in a different way. So it's okay if you're helping your kiddos, even your older teens and young adult kids, do things that other people their age are doing independently, because every brain learns things at different times. And so scaffolding is important no matter when your kids need it. So what do we say in the moment? Here's some helpful scripts that can just help you in that moment when you're talking to your kids about their struggles and about their successes. Instead of just try or just do your best, maybe say some things like, this doesn't need to be perfect. We're just getting started. Tiny progress counts. Just take one step or just do the next right thing. Let's make the goal be just beginning the task, or mistakes are allowed here. When your kids panic, let them know your brain is just trying to protect you. Nothing scary is happening. So let's just take a deep breath and let's do the next thing. Or you don't have to finish everything right now. We just need to do one thing. Or we can make this smaller. Let's just take this part of this task and let's get this done first. When kids start to avoid, we can say, what feels hard about starting? Let's see if we can make that part a little bit easier for you. Or we can ask them, do you need support? Do you need clarity? Or do you need a smaller step? Give them a choice of how you can help them and then listen to them and do it. The thing is, perfectionism grows in environments where mistakes feel dangerous, worth feels conditional, and performance becomes identity. So we want to be really careful to cultivate a home culture that reduces perfectionism as best we can. We reduce it in our homes by letting our kids know that experimentation is safe and mistakes are allowed. Progress matters. Rest is valued when needed. And everybody makes those mistakes, so it's normal. When kids learn that they are lovable and capable, even when things are unfinished, messy, or imperfect, kids they reduce their perfectionism and learn to adjust in the moment and build on from those mistakes and view them as learning experiences and not the be-all end-all part of their identity. Here's the thing. If your kiddo struggles with perfectionism, you didn't do anything wrong. They're not broken. In many cases, perfectionism grows from a sensitive soul, sensitivity, intelligence, awareness, creativity, and deep caring. Our job isn't to make our kids care less or feel less or dumb themselves down or be less sensitive. It's to help them believe that they can survive imperfection. And honestly, this belief changes everything. If you want more support, building confidence, flexibility, executive function, and emotional resilience in your kiddos and in your homeschool, join us inside the Learners Lab. I promise you, we'd love to have you there, and we'll support you continuously in helping your kids grow in their own imperfection and learn to be more resilient and confident in who they are and understand that they're exactly who they're meant to be. I promise you, you won't regret it. If you have any questions about that, or if you need any support helping your kids through their perfectionism, check out the show notes for this episode where there's links to other resources related to perfectionism, or reach out through the contact page. Just let me know and I will be there to help you out. Okay, we'll be back same time, same place next week with another episode. I hope to have you here, and share this episode with anybody that you think can benefit from it. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy your kids. You're a great parent. homeschooling amazing, incredible kids, and I'm so proud of you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.